I think one of the big things for women who come in here, and they come from other studios, is like the culture in here is so different.
And everybody who's on the mats are like, hey, how's it going? And I've seen other friendships and more friendships blossom outside of that. And I think that's great. So we've been through the gamut of going to gyms, going to this, going to that. And it's like, we've seen how it gets run. And the reason why there's a lot of women here that have longevity is because we all have been there, but we all support each other. And we're like, okay, when we're I have a lot of women that come up, if they're having a bad day, they'll talk to me about it. And I'm like, I get it. Believe me. And that's what it is. Having, because I coach as well, having a coach that has been through all of that helps them. But literally I found aside from you, sir, the best people. Like some of the best people in my life here.
And I think with you is I know that the death of gym is cliques, right? Like you don't want to have cliques.
You don't want.
And the women who are already here have been here. So everyone who has a gold tag has been here over a year. Some 5 years,
6
3
years for me.
Yeah. But you're accepting of other women coming in.
Absolutely.
Because it's not like a closed off thing. We just want to help more people.
Because every single one of us that's been here for 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, we've all stepped in here for the first time.
Yes, and we know how nerve-wracking that is.
And that is scary.
I think one of the big things for women who come in here, they come from other studios, is like the culture in here is so different. It's so welcoming.
And everybody who's on the mats are like, hey, how's it going? You'll introduce, you put them on a bag between like two people, they'll introduce each other, especially it's like, oh, I just started this and that. And I've seen other friendships and more friendships blossom outside of that and seeing people talk. And I think that's great because there's going to be people who, because I talk to pretty much everybody when I see them, there's going to be people who are going to connect more with one person than another. But I haven't seen any cliques.
No, it's not. And that's by design. Right. We had women who came over from a different gym, and after second class, she's like, I don't miss my other gym at all.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm glad to hear that.
Right.
Because and also we know that for women 35 and older, it does become harder even for men, but it does become harder to lose weight when you're older.
Yes.
Than when you're younger.
Yep.
For many reasons.
Yeah.
A lot more stresses, hormones change,
yeah.
If you had kids. What is your advice to somebody who is where you were? Because how many pounds have you lost?
I've lost a total of 120 pounds.
That's a person.
Yeah. And I've gained about 15 pounds of muscle. What I would say to somebody is, come in and be consistent. It's always that first couple of weeks that's really tough. But like you always say, you have to have the desire to do it.
Yes.
You have to have the desire to change. You have to have the desire to learn and be open to learn because I came in here, like I've done every diet, everything, I've had weight loss surgery. I'm very transparent about that.
But just so for the people out there, that does not guarantee you're going to lose weight.
No, and it's a tool. Now the hard part, because I had it's going on, I think 4 years now. I got it 4 years ago. I got the sleeve and I was ready to make that change. And it's a tool. I could easily gain most of that weight back.
It doesn't mean you're going to lose weight forever.
Right.
I mean, you could lose initially and then put more back on.
Yeah. It's just like, it's a tool. It's an extreme tool, but it's a tool. But the fact that I was already coming here before was really helpful because it already had that kind of mindset set up. But this just helped kickstart a lot of other thought process. Now, I learned a lot from you and from Josh about protein and how that works when I step on the in-body. How am I going to read this? Don't look at the number. You got to look at the numbers here. And then, sitting down and being like, okay, so you're down in muscle and you're up a little in fat. What did you do that was different? That makes people think, even if they're emotional. Because there's a couple of times I'm like, I didn't do anything. I did nothing wrong. And then I'm like, damn. And I'm like, James is making really good banana bread. I love it, but he's got to stop for a while.
And I think because you came here before the surgery, we talked about a plan after, if I remember correctly.
Right, because I'm like, hey, I'm going in for weight loss surgery. I'm going to be out for 6 weeks, but I need something. And that kind of helped, I think, and I don't really know, but maybe helped spawn a lot of the ideas of the semi-private.
Yeah, it definitely could have. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I think for somebody having a plan after surgery is like, okay, I already know what I'm doing. Right. So that's probably one of the downfalls of having weight loss surgery, not having a plan set up after.
Right. And going into it I hate exercise. Did I love exercise before? I hated it. But I think it's because I couldn't find what I wanted to do.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't find something that I enjoy. that I look forward to doing. And I look forward to coming in and seeing people, you know, and the coaches and stuff like that, you know, like, and that's the thing, like you come in here and we all just kind of like, we crack on each other.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like we kind of pick on each other, but it's all in good fun. And you're literally getting basically murdered.
Yeah, it's hard. It's challenging.
It's challenging, but you're laughing because the person next to you is making the same, like kind of like making comments that are hysterical, and you're like basically laughing while you're doing like a minute plank.
Yeah, a lot of times I hear from wow, that flew by.
Yeah, it does. It goes by quick.
You know, yeah, I think that that's one of the keys is finding what you like. And talking about the atmosphere, I mean, there's been times in this consult where I was like, don't do this. Like, you're not ready for this because you have to have a desire.
Right, you have to.
Right.
And that's like when we have a consultation, it's very similar. It's like when we have a consultation with somebody who wants a tattoo. I want to talk about kind of what happened with Danny the other day. He had somebody come in and she had a tattoo on her face, above her eyebrow, and she wanted it covered. And he was like, well, what do you want it covered with? And she wanted a black rose. And Danny was like, okay, well, he told her that that's a lot. That what's going to happen is because society as a whole is already going to judge you because you have tattoos on your face. That's just what it does. You know, especially, not want to say more so for women than men, but that's just kind of how it is. They're already going to judge you for that. Now you're going to have a big black rose right here. He goes, that is the one thing somebody's going to look at you and they're going to not even look at you as a person.
He's true. It's
and
right.
He was
yeah.
As much as I'm like, tattoo your whole body, and that's what we do, we would tattoo if that. He goes, I cannot in good faith. That's my name, and on a moral standing, I cannot do that. He goes, your best bet is to get it lasered off, and you don't have to worry about it. And apparently, when she was like, thank you so much. And I guess when she was walking out of the shop, she turned to her boyfriend and she goes, I'm really glad I came here because I needed to hear that because I almost made another big mistake.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what it is. It's like you have to, like, you know, of course you want to make a sale. Of course you need to make money. But you have to read the room and you have to say, okay, is this going to cause me more strife? Mm-hmm. Is this going to put a bad name? Because your name is literally on that. My name isn't on my business. Your name is on that. But still, like we talked about, the review is going to go to your business, not the one person.
Yeah. It's definitely, we're actually hitting almost 250 5-star reviews on Google. We're just a couple away.
That's awesome.
And that's over time.
Right.
But it's specifically made so women have that safe space.
Yeah.
You know, and they can, even when they work out, they can bring their children, they can sit and they can watch them. One of the cool things, and one of the women mentioned it today, or was on the path of mentioning it, her small girls can see her workout. Mm-hmm. You know, because children imitate what they see.
Absolutely.
You know, and in the studio, you have a lot of powerful women in different ways. Mm-hmm. From Sensei Beth to you, to Jen, to Mariah, to the jiu-jitsu girls.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That they're all...
I watch them all the time, like, ooh, dang.
You know, like, you just have a lot of powerful women. Mm-hmm. And I remember signing some of them up who were very timid. Mm-hmm. You know, and that transformation in them. And that transfers into life.
Yeah, it does.
Because
it helps them, because a lot of people think that when you get older, you know who you are and you're confident. It's quite the contrary. You have all those years of low self-esteem and low confidence. That's just going to kind of perpetuate. So when you come into a place and you talk to people, and you see that there's somebody who is the same age or around the same age as you, who is successful at it, a lot of times, you know, you might find you're going to compare yourself to them. But the main thing I tell everybody who comes in, like, don't compare yourself to the person next to you. You do what you need to do. The fact that you showed up, the fact that you're here with those gloves on, means that you are ready to do this.
If there's one thing I could get across to women who want to start, who are in here, mm-hmm. is that it's consistency. It's nothing else.
That's it.
Right? Like, sometimes I'm a workout guy.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't want to work out.
There's plenty of times I don't, but I'm like, well, I'm going. Because that's the best time to do it, because you're the best workout,
you
know?
And I saw like a quote today, which we know, but exercise isn't just for weight loss.
Right.
It's for your mind. It's for your body.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the way you make you feel. But everybody needs that third place, not work, not home, that third place they fit in.
Right, and it's literally just 45 minutes out of your day.
Yeah, and it goes by fast. And you're like, and you literally feel amazing. It sounds weird to some people who might not understand it, but when you come in, especially with hitting the bags, you know, I tell you, this is the reason why a lot of women come here, because we can't legally punch somebody in the face. Yeah.
You know? But it really does create, and plus this is really, it just releases a lot of maybe anger you have, a lot of stress.
I have more than a few women who will go through the program. Mm-hmm. They'll stop and they'll be like,
like I needed to come back.
Yeah.
You know, and then listen, the door's always open. If you're a former client, you want to come back, there's no hard feelings.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm here to help you, but they try it on their own. You know, and one of the things I never want to see is like them put the weight back on because they stopped doing it.
Right.
You know, and it could be for a lot of reasons. And I get it. Listen, having a coach can be expensive. I guarantee you it's not going to be as expensive as having an ambulance ride to the hospital and having hospital bills.
Right. Right. I mean,
I know.
And he's healthy.
Yeah, and I was totally healthy.
Right.
I think the ambulance ride itself was $1,200.
Right. Just
one way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And not to mention medications and stuff like that, you know, and really like, you know, with my mom, for instance, you know, 80 years old, she comes here and stuff like that, but she's slowly getting off of insulin.
Yeah, which is great.
Which is phenomenal. Like they're lowering it, this and that. That's her goal. Her goal is, you know, she goes, I'm never going to be super skinny or anything like that. She goes, and that's okay. I just want to be healthy. You know, she took a fall she was 79 at the time. She took a fall, 2 falls, and within like a 24-hour period, she was able to get up.
That's huge. Now at this age, with my parents getting older, even being a PT, you know, with my grandma, at that age, the fall is like the riskiest thing. Because a lot of times once you fall, first of all, you get nervous.
Mm-hmm.
I would say your probability of falling again becomes greater.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention if you hurt yourself. Mm-hmm. Not to mention if you had to lay on the ground for 6 hours because no one can get you up. You know, so it's all these things where what solves that? Being strong, right? Having muscle mass.
Yeah.
Right now, you have to work out to get that.
Right. And I think, too, especially like my mother's generation, they had this mindset of like, well, you think muscle mass, you think huge.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You know what I mean? And you could be a power lifter if you wanted to be, but that's not really what it's about, especially for women. You want to have strong bones.
Yes.
Especially when you start hitting in your 40s and you start getting older, and then it's perimenopause, then menopause, and all the hormones that start kind of declining. You have to make sure that that's good to go.
Yes. And that's why I think the semis our kickboxing classes are wonderful. The semis are another level because you're adding everything in. Now, if you double it up, you know what I'm saying? You do a 45-minute semi. Now you see these women like,
yeah, that's what I do.
really crushing it.
Right.
And it was about family before, but it was always like, okay, I'm not going to say do this because I got to go to work. Or it was like, I worked on Sundays. Now I don't work on Sundays, even though I can make more money.
Right.
So spiritually, I've shifted from trying to get that bag to, okay, maybe I get a little bit of smaller bag, but I'm more balanced in life.
Right. How has you evolving on a spiritual level affected your business?
The question is, what is a conspiracy theory you kind of believe?
Oh, that's a loaded question.